So what is over-the-counter? Well, over-the-counter is a term used to describe tax liens that are available directly from the county. So how are over-the-counter tax liens created and eventually offered? Well, first of all, a standard tax sale is going to be conducted. So if it's an online auction, if it's a live auction, they're going to have their yearly tax sale or their monthly tax sale or whatever it is that that particular county or state does. Now, there are going to be some liens that aren't sold to investors during the auction. Now, these liens are either going to be put back onto the books to be offered at the next sale, or they may have what's called a resale, where they resell those same properties or taxing certificates or tax deeds, or they're offered directly to the public through over-the-counter investing. Now, what are the advantages of over-the-counter investing? Well, first of all, no travel is required. It's really that easy once you understand the basics and you know how to go out there and find them. Also, less competition. With over-the-counter, you just purchase it for that price. Like Florida, you get it at the highest interest rate, so you get it at 18%. There's a big selection of over-the-counter tax liens. And also, with over-the-counter investing, many different strategies can be utilized. Okay, so why did the lien or deed not sell at the auction? Many are under the impression that over-the-counter tax liens or over-the-counter tax deeds are leftover, worthless pieces of property. Now, there are a number of different reasons why a tax lien or tax deed could not be sold at the auction and why they could be offered directly to the public after the auction. Number one is there could be more liens or more tax deeds than investors and money at the auction. Let's say that there's $1 million worth of property being sold at a local tax deed auction that you attend in person, but there's only $500,000 between the investors there. Not all of those properties are going to sell at the auction. Also, bidder default. Sometimes people will get excited, what we call emotional bidding, and they will bid more than they have the ability to pay, or they didn't do their due diligence before the auction. Also, there could be a mistake in the original offering. So how does over-the-counter investing work? Well, first of all, the county will put all of the available tax liens together on an over-the-counter list. Now, this list can be obtained by contacting the county directly. Also, over-the-counter lists can range in size, guys, from just a few tax liens to literally thousands of separate taxing certificates or tax deed properties in some cases. Now, how do you do it? Well, first of all, the investor, you're just going to conduct the usual due diligence. So you're going to check into the property records. You're going to review the value. You're going to go through the normal steps that you would in investing in any other taxing certificate. Now, once you've found a lien and you've picked it, you're going to contact the county to make a payment arrangement. You usually know that by reading the county question and answers and the rules within the county website. Also, with some of the counties in Florida, you can purchase those tax liens right online using a debit card. So, taxing certificate investing does not need to be that hard, especially when we're looking at over-the-counters. So once that payment has been confirmed, or once you have purchased that tax lien online, the county will go ahead and create a taxing certificate for you. Now, back in the old days, they used to send out tax liens, in paper form. That's not something that most of the counties do anymore. It's all done online. It's all done electronically, and so you have a taxing certificate, you may not get a tax lien in the mail, but you will get, you will have access to all of that tax lien online, and many counties will send you out information on that taxing certificate. Now, what type of properties can be purchased through over-the-counter investing? With over-the-counter tax liens and deeds, I have found and find single-family homes, commercial properties, commercial and residential land and building lots, large chunks of land, value, and just many different types of valuable property. There, I found, cabin and mountain lot property and farmland and, all kinds of different properties through over-the-counter tax lien and tax deed investing. Now, what kind of properties should you avoid? Is you want to avoid useless land. This is the type of property that is 5 feet by 100 feet in somebody's backyard. This is that little square piece of property between two lots that nobody really owns. As long as you avoid useless land, there's not a lot of mistakes you can make. I mean, it's possible you can make a mistake, but that's going to eliminates 90% of the risk. Is just make sure you don't invest in a piece of property that is useless. And these type of properties can include, irregular building lots, land with little to no value, properties with easements, and commercial land with environmental issues, which is very, very rare. Essentially, if you avoid these type of properties, you're really going to have a 99.9% success rate in investing in tax-lien certificates to either make an interest rate return on your money, or if possible, to acquire a great property. Because if you avoid these properties, you're picking up the property for a small fraction of the property's value. So let's talk about investing for interest rate returns. Some investors want to invest for primarily interest rate returns. Some investors want to try to get a property. And so there's different things you can do to invest for interest rate returns. Now, really the key for investing in over-the-counter liens for interest rate returns is to invest in tax liens that are more likely to redeem. So because you're looking for long-term investments, you can also invest in states with longer redemption periods. Also, if you're buying the first lien, you're going to get the opportunity to buy the next year's lien. So when the next tax-lien certificate comes available, or if it does, you have the opportunity to purchase it. And why is that advantage? Well, because if you go to foreclose, you're going to have to pay off those tax-lien certificates anyway. So why pay somebody interest when you can be earning that interest yourself? Because whoever buys that tax lien is going to start earning interest, and you're going to have to pay them off to foreclose. So you might as well earn the interest versus paying it. Now, if you don't buy that next year lien, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you are going to have to pay that extra interest to foreclose on the property, in addition to any tax and certificates on the property. So as far as properties to look for when you are investing for interest rate returns, we're going to look for single-family homes, good, clean commercial buildings. Also, something that we actually look for a lot is buildable residential lots, commercial land. So why invest in over-the-counter deeds? Well, first of all, they can be one of the fastest way to get a return on your investment. You could buy tax deeds and sell them immediately. You can buy tax deeds and rent them. You can even buy tax deeds and hold them if you'd like, if you think that it's going to go up in property value and you don't mind sitting on the property for a while. Especially when essentially when you're buying these properties for such a discounted price, sometimes it may not be a bad idea to hold on property. We don't necessarily always recommend that, but it might be a good something to look at on some properties, because essentially, you've purchased it for such a low price. If you buy it for 10, let's say 5% of its value, or 10%, or even 15%, and that property area is going up in value, it may be worth it to sit on it for a year or two, or rent the property out, or seller finance, or use one of these other strategies. Or you can also, sell it, number one, for a discounted wholesale price, or you can go through what's called quiet title and sell it for top market value. Now, with more tax deeds going to auction than ever before, there are more leftover tax deeds available. Now, these tax deeds can be purchased for the back taxes, and they can range in price from 5 to 15% of the property's value.